that Mr. Ali is in the room, I think we can get started. Everybody knows who Micah Ali is, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today. I am recording this because I know that there are a lot of choices today for what people can view during this time frame, but I noticed a glaring deficit last year when I came to the CUBE conference in Atlanta. Nobody was talking about sustainability. Nobody was talking about environmental toxins and their impact on children's learning. Nobody was talking about how some of these things that are more prevalent in communities of color are actually impacting children's cognitive ability, and we're not addressing them. You can have the best teachers and the best instructional materials in the world, but if you're suffocating your kids with high CO2 levels in the classroom, they're not learning. So I'm going to introduce our panelists in just a moment, but I'm going to give you a quick rundown on why I'm so proud to work with Compton, Camden, and Newark, and what we do as the Go Green Initiative. I'm the founder and CEO of the Go Green Initiative. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary this year. I was just a child when I started that organization. So our panelists today are an esteemed group of leaders, education leaders, and I'm going to introduce them in just a moment. But we have some stories to tell, and we're excited to do that. I've been working with Newark since 2013 when Rodney Williams and I first started talking. Camden, New Jersey, been there since 2015, and just started up with Compton in 2020. The Go Green Initiative focuses on school districts primarily that fall into one of two categories, or two of two categories, and that is, are they in an environmental justice community? You can see that just based on one environmental justice index, all three cities that you're going to hear from today are in environmental justice communities. These are communities where children, from the time they wake up to the time they wake up the next day, are more likely to be impacted by environmental pollution than their peers in other zip codes. We also work with school districts that are in low food access or food desert communities. And we fundraise like our lives depended on it so that we don't have to charge school districts a dime for the services that you're going to hear about today. And we put all of our time and resources into communities where children are the most impacted by environmental toxins. So let's talk about those for just a moment, because our school districts that you're going to hear from today care about these issues very deeply. It's amazing to me that for decades we've known that lead in drinking water can cause permanent, untreatable brain damage in children. And yet, there is no federal mandate requiring schools to test for lead. Even in California, where we passed that legislation in 2017, it's lame. You test once, report it if it's really, really serious, and then there's no remediation plan that's required or reported on. Same thing with some of the environmental toxins that we know impact children in indoor air quality. We monitor, regulate, and impose fines on communities that do not meet clean air regulations for outdoor air. But we are imposing none of the same measures for indoor air quality, even though the EPA has told us for years that indoor air quality can be 5 to 100 times more toxic, especially to children's health, than outdoor air. We also know that pesticides in food are one of the most egregious means of introducing chemicals that harm children's bodies, from organ damage to reproductive disorders to even some forms of cancer. And yet, they're still in school meals in many areas of the country. And so the Go Green Initiative helps school districts address clean drinking water, clean food supplies, and clean indoor air quality. We also know that schools consume a lot of natural resources, don't you know? I mean, I'm sure if you looked at your energy bill, you know that you're sucking down energy like nobody's business. And not only is that very costly, but there's also an impact to that. The energy that we're using, a lot of it is fossil fuels. We call them fossil fuels for a reason. We're not making more. And so any energy, any water, even some of our other natural resources that are finite, if we save them today, they are available to our kids tomorrow. And it also allows you to use other parts, apply the savings from saving those natural resources to educational purposes versus utility bills. And so the Go Green Initiative has helped these districts and many more across the country conserve energy, conserve water, and reduce waste. And I couldn't believe it when I saw the news this summer that New Jersey was in drought. I live in California, And Micah Ali lives in Compton. We know what drought's about, but when New Jersey, the Garden State's in drought, get ready. Get ready. Things are changing. So very quickly, the Go Green Initiative helps school districts develop sustainability plans. And we are not just consultants. We actually help in the implementation. That's why we fundraise so hard, so that we actually, if we're able to give you Tier 1 service, if we are able to get that level of sponsorship, we become a full-time equivalent of your district staff and help you develop a comprehensive sustainability plan. We help you analyze and reduce your utilities, so your water, your energy, and your waste. These are all costly utilities, and these are things that we can help you both measure and reduce. And we have student programs. Compton's high school students were part of our multi-city internships in 2020 and 2021. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But we have internships that will be starting this year in Camden. We have them across the country, and we pay our interns, thank you very much. And so we have paid internship opportunities for students, and we have local leaders of the 21st Century clubs that operate at high schools throughout the school year. And I've got to tell you, we've got 2 that are operating in Newark, New Jersey that are blowing my mind. 2 of the high schools in Newark are just killing me. These students are amazing, and we get to work with them every week. So now let's get to our panel. I can't believe the star-studded power that we have today. We have Mr. Micah Ali from Compton. He has been a long-time president of their school board and one of the most powerful and effective education leaders that I know. I'm hoping one of these days I get to vote for him for Secretary of Education. I'm waiting to see his name on the ballot, and we're so excited to have you, Micah. Superintendent Roger Leone from the great, great city of Newark, New Jersey. He brought his fan club, but I'm going to rely on Newark to also cheer for everybody else, because you guys are awesome. And we have Arlethia Brown, who is the Senior Director, lead Director of the Food Nutrition Services Department in Camden City School District, Camden, New Jersey. Let's So we've got 3 pieces of the puzzle that we're going to ask our panelists today. And I know that you guys have a microphone there, and we can pass that around, or I'll sit down and let you answer. But we're going to talk about 3 subjects. First of all, how did your district's sustainability journey begin? What are some of your sustainability successes? And most importantly, the role of district green teams and senior district leaders. And I'll tell you, if I hear one more time somebody say, well, let the children lead the way, they're going to save us. Well, in some cases, the things that we're talking about are compliance with laws. And I always wondered, you know, in what universe do we require children to help their school district comply with the law? So yes, children have a role, but there's nothing like having senior district administrators lead the charge. Makes all the difference. So I'm going to start with Superintendent Leone. And I would love to ask you what initially prompted the district, because you guys started with energy. What prompted the district to focus its attention on energy conservation and renewable energy projects?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to showcase the work in our city. I think it's extremely important for everyone to first understand what's the magnitude of the problem. So in Newark, we're one of the country's oldest school system. Barrington High School happens to be the 3rd oldest high school in the United States. Lafayette Street School, it's an elementary school that was erected during the Polk administration. That is 10 years before Abraham Lincoln was the president. We have sustained 25 years of state operation. We're identified as what is called an at-school district, which delineates how school buildings are actually erected over the course of these 25 years. We were promised 40 new schools during state operations. We received 10, they closed 20, and then in 2018, an incredible event occurred in Newark, which is the beginning to return local control to the Board of Education, fully a local Board of Education in 2020. One of their first assignments was hiring a little boy from Newark, which obviously, loving my city and my school system, but really began to change the trajectory of what we have done and where, in fact, we were going. And I had the years I wanted to take the opportunity, Vice President Santana, Board Member Gonzalez, and Board Member here, we obviously appreciate that. The focus of why I wanted to introduce the 3 board members is given that this is a board event. I did want to stress the importance of the relationship between the board and the superintendent in terms of the guidance of the work and addressing issues and needs. For example, to solve all the issues that Rodney, who is the Director of Sustainability for us in Newark, had that we would need, we have calculated about $1 billion is what we would need to acquire in bonds to actually address and fix all of our problems. But because of the way the state operated the school system, the authority of the board was limited to a great extent, and now we're obviously moving forward to address particular needs. This ESIP plan winds up coming a little later. It's a twofold strategy. It's a design that's impacting all of the development of our new schools, and then retrofitting all of our existing buildings becomes the ultimate strategy. $1 billion would build about close to 7 or 8 schools in Newark. So $1 billion will actually help us fix all of the buildings that we actually have our students in. Science Park High School happens to be the first urban school in the state that has geothermal heating plant that has created kind of gold standard not only for us in Newark but throughout the state. I know that things that we were doing as a result of the $100 million that we have received through the bond are, geothermal wind turbines, solar panels, carports, ice storage, cogeneration units, new boilers, new HVAC units, and really retrofitting all of our schools with LED lighting has been all a part of the strategy over the last year and a half or so. Obviously, with the incredible work and the relationship with the Go Green Initiative from 2013, but really revitalized itself during the last couple of years. I know that one of the things that we were interested in learning is how we actually monitor all of this. So there is a platform that we use as the Energy Star Portfolio Manager, and with the work that the entire sustainability team utilizes with the district-wide management system, this is what has enabled us to yield some incredible results.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Leon. And I have to say a word about Energy Star Portfolio Manager. That is a great tool. Rodney Williams, wave to the crowd, everybody. He's the Director of Sustainability. The man, the legend. And he and I have had to pour over unbelievable amounts of data to get all of this together for Newark. But I can see the results in cost savings, in better environments for the students, and I really feel like it was a great investment of time and attention on the part of the Newark Board of Education. So thank you for that, Superintendent Leon. Miss Arlethia Brown, and you had seen her and I in this book together. We have some good times in Camden, New Jersey, and I'm so proud to share your story. She's one of my sheroes. She's amazing. You and I first met back in 2015 because I don't want to tattle, but Camden City School District was ready to be fined by the state of New Jersey. And Micah, this isn't possible in California, but we'll get there. But New Jersey actually has the authority to fine schools that are out of compliance with their waste mandates, whether it's recycling and now compost. And Camden was about to be fined $3,000 per school per day for being out of compliance with the state's recycling mandates. And so I went in 2015 to be of service to the Camden City School District, and one of the big things that Arlethia and I had to tackle was all of the waste that was happening in the kitchen area, in the food service area. And she had to work with Aramark staff, they have a vendor, to get those kitchen areas compliant. And so Arlethia, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what it took to get recycling going in the Camden School Nutrition Department, because food waste and kitchen waste is a big deal.
Thank you, Jill. I really appreciate it. Can everyone say partnerships? I want you to know that the partnership that the Camden City School District has with the green team, I call them the real green team, but the initiative around Jill is just incredible. When Jill and I met back in 2015, as she mentioned, we were about to be fined. Not fine for one school, but fine for, at that time, the 35 schools that we had in place. What was happening at was one, it was happening at all of the schools. And it was important for us as a district to not lose any more funding as a result of something that we all should be doing. We're talking about carbon footprints, we're talking about clean environments and clean water and food access. We're talking about food waste and how we should be discarding those things that can be reused. But in 2015, we didn't have anything in place. In 2015, Jill came in as a great partner and supported us with developing additional partnerships with our waste management in our county. Our waste management and our facilities team, our school nutrition team, and our school leaders, we all came together at a table right in the conference room on the first floor of the old central office building, and we talked about what is in fact happening and what we can do to resolve some of the challenges. In school food, you know, we have a food service management company and they're going to do what they're going to do. But ultimately, we thought through how can we impact and we mitigate the concerns that we were having. And we started with just food. We started with making sure that our cans were clean and that they were discarded properly. We started with ensuring that we reuse food rather than making cheeseburgers or making whatever item and then discarded it if it's not eaten. Then those foods were put back into our system so that we can make a salad the next day with the chicken tenders that were left over from the day before. It's just those small little things that can impact and reduce the carbon footprint and reduce food waste. And food waste was very, very large in our district. During that time, we had, like I said, Aramark as our food service management company, and oftentimes students would not eat meals for whatever reason. So we want to think about access to meals. We want to think about how we're going to make those adjustments in our cafeterias and in our kitchens. So we started with reducing the trays, buying plastic trays rather than purchasing the ones that we would discard. And we started with just utilizing some of those methods that would reduce the cost of expenses of supplies and start buying items that we could just reuse and wash on a regular basis. But it was important for us to know that it was a time where we needed to come together as a district, and that means the school nutrition department with the facilities team and some of our school leaders and other team members to make sure that we're coming together to support one another. So we went out and we purchased trash cans for all of our classroom feedings, where now the students, they can discard right in our classrooms with buckets so that they can pour out their liquids so we can reduce the amount of trash and garbage that we were having on a daily basis. So it was those things. But guess what? Holding one another accountable was very important. So as a school nutrition leader, now I'm holding my other teams accountable, which is my facilities teams and my teachers. And they're looking at me like, who are you? Well, I'm on the green team, and I'm here to make sure that we stay compliant. We have to stay compliant because guess what? We're going to pay fines if we don't. And so this was all new for the members of our school district. And holding one another accountable was the key to success for us as we continue.
Thank you so much, Arlethia. That's amazing. And I have to say, one of my favorite moments in working in the state of New Jersey was when the facilities team came on a field trip with me from Newark to Camden to see how Camden set up their recycling system and to see how they set up their classrooms and their cafeteria to make sure they were dealing with waste in a lawful way. And that was really fun. So thank you for that, Arlethia. And now to Mr. Ali from Compton. Thanks to your influence, in 2020 and in 2021, you convinced one of your vendors, NG Services, to sponsor the cost of paid internships with the Go Green initiatives for students from all 4 Compton high schools. Talk to us about the value you place on paid internships for your students and any other reflections you have about that program.
Well, I would say that money is not only there for some, but it definitely offers the notion that you're invested. Your skin in the game. And when students witness that, and when they see that you're willing to make a financial investment within them, then in turn they understand that you mean business. Oftentimes we have employees that collectively bargain minutes for additional dollars. So why not provide students with an opportunity to make a little money, but in the process, they learn they're now committed to advancing the cause of environmental justice in the community. You start out with working with your strategic partners and your vendors. There's nothing wrong with you telling a vendor or a strategic partner and what you're interested in. Then doing is simply making an investment back into the school system, more specifically, helping students with work experience. It brings forth opportunity and exposure and allows for young people to become acclimated vis-a-vis careers that they have absolutely no knowledge of or have never met anybody who works in a particular area. So NG, a very large energy solutions company committed to investing in college youth. Of course, the district contracted to address energy-related inefficiencies, i.e. air conditioning and the like, filtration. And so that has now led us to looking at lighting and allowing us to look at how we collect trash, the division between solid waste, green waste, compost, and the like. So it's looking at a holistic approach as to how to address the environmental needs of our community. Oftentimes when we think of the environment, the first thing we think about is air and electricity. We also have to consider plastics. We also have to consider water, and how much water we consume, how much water we use. In addition to materials that we use to build, right? Filters, HVACs, boilers, and the like. So oftentimes when we say environment, we think about tree huggers, right? But the need to be good stewards of the environment is a responsibility and a moral obligation for all of us. And I believe that it has to start with teaching students exactly what to do and then the significance therein. And then you measure the output. And so some students are instrumental in leading the way, but in many instances, students and families are looking to us as a school system to be innovative, not just in our instructional delivery model, but also how we prepare these children for a future. And besides, there's a tremendous amount of jobs in their environmental space, moving forward and in current date. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. And I have to brag on his commitment. It wasn't just getting the internships available to the students. When we sent out an invitation for city and school district leaders to come and watch those students do a presentation, and keep in mind this was the first summer of the pandemic, so it had to be online, and we asked them to come and watch what the students actually achieved and what they learned. He was the first one to reply yes immediately. And he supported those students, and actually they've ended up as members. Some of them are members of the district Green Team. And so I have to thank him for his leadership on that. So let's go on to our next topic, talk about some of these successes that these school districts have enjoyed. I'm going to go to Arlethia first. Arlethia, there's a lot that we could talk about. I mean, you bring in locally grown food, you bring in fresh fruits and vegetables, you have a breakfast after the bell program, and you also participate in the Farm to Schools program. So just talk to us about how you bring sustainability into the little tummies of those sweet kiddos in the Camden City School District.
So as you all know, that we're still working through the pandemic. I don't care, we're still working through it. There's times where we still have to wear masks and we still have to do things. But let me tell you, the pandemic taught us so much. We had some of these programs in advance prior to the pandemic, but we've grown them since then. We have a breakfast after the bell program. And what that means is all of our students have access to breakfast up until 10 a.m. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that's going to impact the school day. It's going to impact the students' learning if they're not eating breakfast before their day starts. And breakfast is not exactly when you wake up. It's when you decide to take a break and take in some nutrition that's going to help you think and help you be strong enough to get through the day and deal with some of the issues that you may face. So our breakfast after the bell program has been implemented in all of our schools. Camden City's public schools is partnering with some of our charter Renaissance schools, which are mastery schools of Camden, Uncommon, Camden Prep, and Urban Promise. And so we implemented breakfast after the bell at all 31 of our sites. Not only do we have a breakfast after the bell program, but we have a fresh fruit and vegetable program that we had for the longest time since the fresh fruit and vegetable program started. And this year, all pre-K through 8 schools are approved for the fresh fruit and vegetable program. When you talk about sustainability efforts, you want to think about access to meals. And access to meals is not just breakfast and lunch, but it's those snack meals that are happening in the middle of the day or after school. Our fresh fruit and vegetable program has expanded to our middle and high schools through a local school for foods grant that was given to us through the Department of Agriculture. So now all 10,000 of our students have access to fresh fruit and vegetables through our fresh fruit and vegetable program. Now it doesn't end there. We partner with our farm school network, and I mentioned earlier partners. Partnerships are so important. Camden partners with the Campbell Soup Company through an initiative, a collective that we call the Full Futures. Campbell's committed $1 million to Camden schools for 5 years, so that's $5 million to help us with our procurement methods, infrastructure, and access to meals, and water, which is American Water, is one of our other partnerships that they've just given us a grant just today for $25,000 to purchase infiltration systems that's going to allow us to use our water on a daily basis versus purchasing bottled water. Camden was purchasing bottled water for our students, for not just the students in the cafeteria and classrooms and hallways, but also in the kitchens. So we had to purchase bottled water because our community was up in arms around water and whether or not we were going to be using water safely. So although the water company said that our numbers are where they should be and we're safe, and there's just that one little bit of lead that's in the water that is acceptable, is not acceptable for our community or our students. So as a result, we purchase bottled water for all of our schools. So now with this grant, $25,000, may not seem like a lot, but it's going to allow us to purchase 40 units for our schools and for all of our cafeterias and kitchens. So we're really, really excited about it. Now, Farm to School Network, they may not give you funding to do your good deeds around water and local foods, but they are going to market your program. And I will tell you firsthand that you want your school district marketed. You want folks to know what you're doing. You want to share our good practices, and you want not just your district, but the districts around you. I have to say that I'm so excited to be sitting next to the Superintendent of Newark. I can't tell you how Newark, they've been that change agent, that group of individuals that is pushing the envelope and making things happen. In every meeting that I go to, Newark stands up. And what's nothing like a little competition? And so Newark pushes us to be just like them. And as a result, we continue to partner and provide the students in the state of New Jersey with opportunities and resources to ensure that they're having a well-rounded, well-nourished academic day on a daily basis.
Thank you, Arlethia. That deserves a round of applause, I think. This underscores the point. Sustainability is not a kumbaya situation. This is not about tree hugging and saving polar bears. That's all great, but that's not what we're doing here. This is about the well-being of children, what goes into their bodies, what they're ingesting, what they're breathing, where they spend most of their waking hours, and that's in schools. And I'm so encouraged with Arlethia's story. She's my Shiro. There you go. Mr. Ali, so as recently as 2017, several of the schools in Compton Unified were Energy Star certified. That means that they were in the top 25% of schools in the entire nation in terms of energy efficiency. And we're working with the district to get their Energy Star portfolio manager accounts up to date again, and we're going to be giving them a report as soon as that is finished. And I'm just wondering, as a board member, what your thoughts are, what you're looking forward to with that report. What are some of your expectations around energy benchmarking and reporting?
Well, the most important fact is that we want to save money, and we want to reinvest that money to the academic program. In addition to enhancement of our various facilities, which will then ultimately lend itself to academic programs, which of course will ensure that students have an opportunity to pursue careers and/or career pathways within the environmental space. And so the report will most certainly allow the district to develop a focus as well as serve as a fulcrum as we begin to move out on new school construction, in addition to the other enhancements that we're currently working on as far as our infrastructure improvement plan, our facilities plan is concerned. Right? In addition, it will allow us to be able to replace aged equipment. Now, we don't have facilities as old as Newark or Camden, but we do have some old ones. Compton High School is over 100 years of age. So remember, you're constantly replacing roofs and windows and HVAC systems. And with COVID, remember this, you literally would have to change the filtration. And if the filtration system cannot accommodate the load, then you have to replace the unit. That's a fact, which is why the president stated, utilize the money to upgrade and enhance your HVAC system. It's an allowable expense. Well, that also allows for clean air, better heating and ventilation, but it also allows you an opportunity to save money. Now, before I pass the microphone over, I want to highlight one fact. You guys are really going to like this. So we replaced our aging water pipes with a new system that literally allows us to make water from the air. We partnered with a Santa Monica-based company by the name of Skywell. Skywell, S-K-Y-W-E-L-L, S-K-Y-W-E-L-L. And our students are actually able to drink this water. It's literally snatching humidity and creating water. So what we were able to do is reduce and eliminate the promulgation of plastics by offering these types of water bottles. The metal, they can then wash and reuse, allow them to be a cap, they can unscrew, drink, recap. And so those are other ways in which you can invest. You can utilize your ESSER balance for that. Now, if your superintendent staff's telling you that they have ESSER balance remaining and they don't know what to buy, then we have a problem. In addition, if you've not sought an accountability matrix of what was actually purchased, we're going to have a problem. At least I would be a little bit concerned. Buying air filtration units is not simply it, and that's not what I would recommend as a measure of addressing environmental injustices, or injustices, rather. So, utilize the dollars to look at innovative ways to educate your students on the fact that you can use humidity to create water and what that does to the environment. Just one little small example can change the life of some students. One is perhaps not have students who are pursuing a career in water integration, working for the Department of Water and Power, understanding the correlationship between water and power, electrician, plumbers. You never know what's igniting the minds of a young person and how you can help to shift and move them as they progress through their academic journey.
I love that. Thank you, Micah. And one of the things I can say about those Compton students is when we started introducing them to subject matter experts and industry experts, everybody from a PhD industrial engineer to technicians who operate water plants and energy plants, and they started asking them questions about what kind of education do I need? What do I do next? What can I be pursuing? There was so much excitement, and it was because of, leadership, giving them those opportunities. Now, I am so excited to share this next story about Newark. And Superintendent Leon he's a rock star. You guys are going to see him. People get their pictures, with him out in the foyer. All three of them are rock stars. But he did something, and Rodney Williams was my right-hand man. In 2020, when the whole world was focused on the pandemic, Newark was definitely focused on that, but they were also focused on winning the most elite and most difficult award that the state of New Jersey has to offer when it comes to sustainability. Sustainable Jersey for Schools is the most aggressive and difficult certification program in the nation. And I can say that because I work in all 50 states. And every single Newark school was certified that year in 2020. And you know what? They just did it again this year. Every single school was certified, and 3 of them were silver certified. That's the highest level. And so, Superintendent Leon, I would love for you to talk to us about how that was accomplished and the role that you and the board played.
So I did hear a lot of applause during that. So just put a couple of things into perspective, right? So it's 2020, the board now has full control and its destiny. But we have been identified as a high-performing school district by the governor and the New Jersey Department of Education, which we had been yearning for 4 years. And then we created this 10-year strategic plan that is very forward-thinking, not waiting for 10 years to actually begin implementing any of our strategies. And we understood that we, in this 10-year strategic plan, had a responsibility, not in a cocky way, but to urban school districts all across the country to definitely figure things out, study ourselves, and then to share with other people what it is that we're doing. So while Director Brown recognized us, and we extremely are humble and appreciative of that we also are not so big enough that we can't learn from all other school districts and that we pose ourselves to doing so. 2 things before I get into a little bit more of what was occurring in 2020 through 2022 is we distributed, one of my executive staff members distributed our, not a business card, but it looks like a business card, and it does have a QR code on it. And it basically has a lot of the information that I'm speaking to today, as well as our specific contact information. So our school business administrator and Rodney Williams, who's the director of sustainability for the district, are extremely important and critical in assisting that. And we just want to make sure that everyone had that, as well as this whole concept about our strategic plan, which I do think is a document worthy of people reading it. I know that President Ali stepped aside, but when he was talking about accountability, I want to underscore the whole point about the importance of these extra dollars as a return on investment, which is ultimately the best way to see how we're maximizing dollars years from now. Everyone's worrying about the moment, everyone's worrying about the crisis. And even though it's about 2.5 years already behind us, the whole idea that we're still in it is a fact that that will in fact remain. But ultimately, if we are consumed by a crisis and allow it to be what governs every hour of our day, you know, we're Newark, we're the largest school district in New Jersey, so we know that it was impacting us a little bit differently than our friends in the suburban school districts up and down the I-95 corridor, to say the least. But ultimately, we can't ever allow a crisis to consume us. I don't know about other urban school districts in the room, but in Newark, whenever there is a crisis of a magnitude like Superstorm Sandy or what we have just experienced, we elevate ourselves to an incredible degree. That level of urgency is quite different. And so the 10-year strategic plan teaches us to look forward, be forward-thinking, so that in fact, as much as possible can be prepared for, if you will. Oh, and then while we're doing all of this important work, there is a global pandemic that killed actually 8 of our employees in this whole entire process. So the ultimate focal point of the important work that Rodney's spearheading for us has some serious implications that has improved our school district, perhaps far greater than any other real initiatives. In our science classes, for example, they're learning whatever are the outline objectives, and they're aligned with the state standards, and the expectations are very, very high. That is true. However, nothing is going to impact the academic program for our students far more than something that they can actually see changing and assisting them in the moment. We know that after they take the courses, that they go into law school or they go into medical school, and that they actually experience what they learn in school. But it's very rare to actually say that what you're actually learning is impacting you in the moment. So the work that has occurred because of you and your leadership to even highlight that even more, there have been curricular changes to the academic program that are in fact allowing students in all of the grades to really understand the importance of why they are doing particular things that are spearheaded by their school's green teams and actually changing the academic program. The fairs that you can see evidence of on the QR code is just one example of how the students are really reimagining not only schooling, but how they are not only taking care of their community, but beginning with improvements and changes to their schools. So our STEAM fairs, something that probably every school district in America engages their students in. Ours is focused on all this too important work. So from clubs to fairs, redefined over the last year or so. And finally, our Energy Guidance Sustainability Ambassador Club is probably one of the most incredible initiatives that we've had. So we've targeted in the high schools our young ladies to let them understand the importance of not only what the STEAM-related STEAM work actually is, but that the STEAM-related fields are lacking their presence. And we know that whenever women assume any type of responsibility, it always ends up far better for every man that is involved in it. So we need our young ladies to be aggressively involved in this space. And this was a direct effort by the district to target our young ladies in the high schools. You will see evidence of them looking at how our solar panels work by actually being on top of some of the roofs of our high schools where those solar panels exist. being engaged with CEOs that are women leading this space and knowing that they are doing it and they're tired of being there alone. I know that there were internship opportunities in Compton, similarly situated are opportunities that we're providing for our students in our 17 high schools as it relates to internships specific to the academies that they are studying, as opposed to doing internships separate and apart because of the realities of what we're learning through this is very important STEAM work. We're actually embedding internship opportunities as part of our 10-year strategic plan in the academies within our respective high schools. And you know what, I know that you had asked this before we were preparing for this. The impact of this work is extremely profound. From the Instant Award for Energy, the Energy Star Award, the Sustainable Jersey for Schools Award, all 62 of our schools were the recipient of the bronze certification. One leading the way, First Avenue School received silver, with 2 other schools just joining them recently. And then we are one of the 13 recipients of the Bonfire Deals of the Year Award, which really has enabled us to get to a point right now. We can't just get $100 million. This crisis that we've just lived is one that we will rarely and we will hope and pray never see again that will be associated with so much money. So there are opportunities that have been provided to us that are enabling us to really realize a change in our school facilities that our students and all students deserve.
Thank you, Superintendent Leon. That's pretty awesome, right? Yes. I remember when I first started working in New Jersey, you know, and I live in California now, one of the phrases I heard over and over again was, "Don't worry about it, I know a guy." And I couldn't wait till I had been working in New Jersey long enough to be able to say, "Don't worry about it, I know a guy." Well, now I know a guy. And all of this is paid off, and the students see it, they get it, and Rodney Williams, I have to say too, I know a guy who makes things happen on behalf of the students. Let me tell you one more story before I go back to Arlethia, because Camden has just recently done the same thing with the Sustainable Jersey for Schools program. They have a map on their website that shows all the certified schools up and down the state of New Jersey. Before Camden and New Jersey and Newark earned these awards, guess how many urban school districts had certified schools? 0. Zip. When you looked at the map, the certified schools were in concentric circles around the urban areas in the state of New Jersey. Not anymore. And not only have they planted the flag, Newark and Camden have done it hard, and they've done it permanently. Every single one of their schools, so just 1 or 2, every single one of their schools is certified. And so I'm going to go to Arlethia now, because during this past school year, Camden just went through this process. Every single one of their schools is now bronze certified. And you guys started a district green team, Arlethia, and I got to tell you, she was the chief. Whether she holds that position on paper or not, she was the leader that kept this green team going. And I would love for you to talk about that whole experience of starting that green team and going through the process of getting Sustainable Jersey for Schools certified.
Thank you, Oops. Can you hear me?
Oh, there it is. So I'm so excited that we were able to have all of our schools win the bronze certification this school year. And it wasn't as difficult as one would think, because we started our efforts in 2015. So everything that we won for was because of things that we had already implemented, with the exception of our school gardens. We lost them somewhere along the way. But last school year, we partnered with Food Corps, which is an AmeriCorps program that supports school districts with their local school for foods and school garden and nutrition education. And we utilized our Food Corps members to support us with our school gardens across our district. So not only do we have school gardens, but we have aero gardens where we have vegetables that's growing indoors. With that, we had members of our facilities team, our school nutrition team, our IT team. We had members of our community, students. We had our family ops coordinators. We had our operations team members, and we all sat to make sure that we had everything in place With that, we had, again, our partnership with Jill and Wells Wilson, and they were able to come in and help organize what we already had. So we had everything in place. We just needed to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and that's what that team did for us. And so we were able to get bronze status, and we're going to be working on that silver status as we move on. But our local school for foods, our school gardens, our initiatives around food waste is what got us there. And I'm looking forward to our energy audits and our energy initiatives. And Jill, I think you can talk a little bit more about what's happening there. But those are the efforts that we had in order to help us get to that bronze status. And I'm truly grateful, and I can't wait what's to come.
Thank you, Arlethia. I can't wait either. And Superintendent Leon, I want to give you a chance. I know we're getting close to time, and I also want to take some questions, but I want to talk to you about helping us understand why sustainability has such high-level support in your district. I mean, you brought me into a principals meeting last October and said, we're doing this. Listen to what her presentation has to say. I mean, that's unprecedented. Talk to us a little bit about why that's so and why you value sustainability that way.
You know, one of the realities in perhaps other school districts, perhaps other urban school districts, but definitely in Newark, so I'll speak of what I know, is that that lightning bulb will stay off for a long time until somebody comes in and says, why is that lightning bulb out? So the whole idea that we have a concept of waiting, allowing things to be broken, allowing enough things to be broken to actually begin to fix them is a serious problem that we have. After our first year where all of the schools were bronze, let me take one step back. This is not hard work, but I will say this is not easy work either. And so one of the things that occurred, Rodney had indicated where were what was our status of all of our teams, where were they with all of their reports, and while the COVID-19 has impacted everyone equally, it has also impacted adults as well. So principals were understanding what were the most important of the list of priorities. So we did reach out to Jill, and I was like, they hear it from me, they hear it from Rodney. I'm going to give you some time with the principals, and we know that time is really, really sacred, to let them hear from someone else about what they are thinking about the schools that are engaged in this initiative. So the whole idea about prioritizing this is something that's extremely important to me. And we know that because our funds are limited, that we have to do everything strategically possible under the sun to have as much money go into classrooms. And when I say into classrooms, I don't mean to change a light bulb. So from my level, very, very high, that it's the creation of this entire office and somebody who's passionate about this all too important work, which Rodney obviously does that. And I did include, because we're very confident in Newark, his email, a phone number, so that if anyone in the room just has a question, you want to follow up with any of us, all of our personal information is there for you. So the whole idea that we think this is important and we know that you know is important is extremely integral to our success. But your assistance in it, and you can ask us to talk about you, but the Green Initiative support is extremely helpful in guiding us and letting us know where we are in this whole entire process and what we need to do to actually move the lever. So in Newark, every single one of our schools has an actual green team. There are students on there, the principals are on it, our custodial staff. And one of the things that Rodney did is identify in each each school the responsibility of that school selecting a team captain, and that those folks follow up to him to provide assistance, guidance, and support. The district has our own green team, which Rodney spearheads with our building managers, folks that handle all of our recycling efforts in the district, and all other related staff on the facilities front of this important work. And so we're obviously grateful and thankful to you. I did want to say that the focus of everything that we're talking about today does not need to, and I know that we have a new friend in Michigan, we don't need those types of crises to be what motivates us. So in Newark, our mayor, the Honorable Micah, has replaced all of the lead pipes in every single home and every single facility all throughout the whole entire school system and city. It's the first city to have been able to have accomplished such a task and to have done so in such a limited amount of time. We don't want anything that is not going to protect all of our citizens, like safe, clean water, to ever be compromised. So I think it does start from the heads, whether it's the head of the city of Newark or the head of a school system like Newark, to really motivate and force everyone to do ultimately what everyone knows is the right thing to do. So we thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Leon. Thank you so much. I want to, there's so much more that we could share, but we're not going to. I want to give you guys a chance to ask any questions and also let you know that we do have some books and materials up front if you'd like that. It's free. Everything we do is free, and in fact, if you would like to know more, you can scan this QR code for a link to this slide deck and get in touch with us. But what questions do you guys have? Anything at all? But not all at once. Oh my gosh, you guys, calm down. Take your turn. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. I guess this is a question for both of you, but mostly Dr. Leon. First of all, the work that you're doing is incredible. Coming from New Jersey, I know what the state deals with and what some challenges have been, and so this work is really valuable to hear. My question is, you've been talking about ways to reallocate funds, that this is going to create hopefully a surplus or savings, if you will, so you can reallocate those funds to the classroom. You also talked about initiatives around supporting particularly women, girls, students in the STEM field. So do you have goals within the 10-year plan of certifications in the STEM space that you want to enable these funds to go towards?
Yeah, so as outlined in our 10-year strategic plan, if you look, so years 1, 3, 5, 7, and obviously 10 are extremely important to us. We're at the start of year 3. As it relates to barometers for each of those, one of the things that occurred when the strategic plan was being presented to me from the stakeholders was this whole concept of equity. So we have created within the 10-year strategic plan what we call equity indicators that kind of outlines for us when we know we're there as it relates to each of those. On the academic front, that's what we're doing for the students. Not that you were prompting it, but we've also outlined it in South Jersey. They have this whole Men of Colors initiative to really recruit men into teaching. I have what is called the Black Men Rising Coalition and the Latino Men Rising Coalition, which is motivating our male Black and Latino teachers to get, who are teachers already, into the leadership role. I can't promote someone to a principal who's ready that needs to look like some of our male students if no one's in the queue to do that. So we created with Montclair State a partnership to create that.
Wonderful. Any other questions? I want to make one final point, and I think this is really important. I'm sad right now a little bit because I'd love to see this room full. And you want to know why? Because the children in the districts that are represented by Cube school districts are the most impacted by environmental pollution. They are the most impacted by environmental racism. We can't talk about the kind of chart that I showed you earlier about why these communities are environmental justice areas without talking about environmental racism. And we have a lot of topics on the agenda about anti-racism and DEI. But to me, this is part and parcel with that same mindset. That if we are going to protect our children, if we are going to elevate our children and our communities, and we are going to ensure that our children have maximum capacity to learn, then it's incumbent upon school leadership to remove those toxins, ensure those environmental pollutants are not in the learning space, are not in the water, are not in the food, because that diminishes our children's cognitive ability and their ability to rise. And so let's make a commitment to one another. How about if we all go out and tell everybody what you saw in here, and maybe we elevate this topic for CUBE districts in future CUBE conferences so that urban children across America can be protected from the environmental pollutants they didn't ask for, it's not their fault, and we have the power to keep it out of their learning space so that they can rise as high as they want to. What do you think? Can we do that?